is happening, gang? It's your boy Retro back again with another reaction video. Yeah. Today we got another huge update. Though you guys can probably already tell that it is going down. Just by that title alone, you guys are definitely gonna want to check this one out. So we got that Somalian representative Ilhan Omar having a full-blown meltdown on live television as we quickly move closer to the growing calls for her deportation finally being answered, guys. And I'm excited to get to this one, so now I'm straight into it. All I ask that you guys please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and without further ado, let's hop straight into it, folks. Check this one out.
And they contribute nothing. The welfare is like 88%. They contribute nothing. I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you, okay? Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country is no good for a reason. Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country. I could say that about other countries, too. I can say it about other countries too. We don't want them to hell. We have to rebuild our country. You know, our country's at a tipping point. We could go bad. We're at a tipping point. I don't know if people mind me saying that, but I'm saying it. We could go one way or the other, and we're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country. Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage. These aren't people that work. These aren't people that say, let's go, come on, let's make this place great. These are people that do nothing but complain. They complain. And from where they came from, they got nothing. You know, they came from paradise, and they said, this isn't paradise. But when they come from hell, and they complain, and do nothing but we don't want them in our country. Let them go back to where they came from and fix it. Thank you very much, everybody.
Mr. President, has the Bureau offered to leave?
Alright, folks, and that right there is President Donald Trump, as usual, leaving it all out there when it comes to Ilhan Omar and her Somalian constituents that continuously participate in these massive fraudulent schemes that have been taking place in the state of Minnesota underneath the leadership of Governor Tim Walz. He's exactly right in calling these folks out. They come from these very failed countries, these bad places, and they come over here to the United States and try to tell us how to run the place. And we can clearly see we've got a well-oiled machine over here, but you already know Ilhan Omar did not stay quiet after this coming from President Donald Trump. She took it to MSNBC, absolutely losing it in a live meltdown shortly thereafter.
He's always been a racist, a bigot, a xenophobic, and Islamophobic. We know that he called African nations a shithole in his first administration. We know that when he came down that escalator, he said he was going to stop Muslim immigration into this country. And so it is not surprising that he is going after black immigrants in this country. And it's certainly not surprising that he's choosing a black immigrant community that is also Muslim. But what I would like to say is that most of us are citizens. On our passport, it says we are nationals of this country. We love that Minnesota has welcomed us. Many of us have not been settled in Minnesota. We chose it as a home because the Minnesota people and the state is beautiful and very welcoming, and we are going to be here regardless of what the president has to say.
That sounded a little bit like a challenge to me directly to the sitting president of the United States of America. Not a very good idea coming from that Somalian representative Ilhan Omar, challenging President Donald Trump, saying that Somalians are here to stay within your country. We've taken over, we've invaded the place, and now we're not leaving. I don't think that's a good idea, but we'll just have to see how this one plays out. You know, President Donald Trump quickly responded to Ilhan Omar and her statement saying that these folks are here to stay in the United States of America and there's nothing that we can do about it.
Frankly, don't need their people coming into our country telling us what to do.
And you talk about
Now talking about like Somalia, where you have a congressman goes around telling everybody about our Constitution, and yet she supposedly came into our country by marrying her brother. Well, if that's true, she shouldn't be a congressman, and we should throw her the hell out of our country.
And I'll tell you guys one thing that's for certain, that Ilhan Omar better tread lightly with her next move, because we could see that President Donald Trump is clearly not mincing his words in his latest response to her threats against him, saying that she's here to stay and her Somali constituents cannot and will not be removed from our country. Well, he just reminded her of the great immigration fraud that she committed with her own brother, marrying him in order to get his citizenship within the United States of America, which is a criminal offense, by the way. Now, this has turned into a full back and forth. Ilhan Omar versus the sitting president of the United States, President Donald Trump. Ilhan Omar responding back when confronted about marrying her brother to gain his citizenship. Take a look at this.
Congresswoman, do you agree with President Trump's assumption that you married your brother to get citizenship? Have you begun packing your bags for Somalia yet, Congresswoman Omar?
Not going anywhere.
So you're not?
No, don't waste your energy on me.
Do you have a message for President Trump?
I will be here probably longer than Trump.
Wait, do you have a message for President Trump?
I am like a quarter of his age.
Do you have anything else you'd like to say to him?
Some old man losing his mind. I don't know why he's obsessed with me.
Interesting. Well, thank you, Congresswoman.
Yeah, I hope he gets help.
Thank you.
Looks like Ilhan Omar is completely losing her stuff. Reality's finally starting to set in. You notice how she never answers that one question about how her brother got citizenship within the United States of America, and it's because she knows she's as guilty as could be. She responds to President Trump's deportation threat, saying he's an old man, losing his mind, and I hope he gets help. I'm not sure that's the case. This man is spot on, as sharp as a tack right now. At the age that he is actually pretty impressive. He knows exactly what you did, and he's going to hold you accountable. We can see that she's freaking out. Now, folks, you know this one is heating up when even tech billionaire Elon Musk is coming to the talks and chiming in on the conversation. Got this original post here from Gunther Eagleman on X that says Ilhan Omar wasn't even elected in by Americans. She was elected by 80,000 Somalis that Obama dropped in Minnesota. Go figure. And then Elon Musk responded to this one, quoting a tweet, saying the far left imported voters to gain power, and it worked. I mean, this is exactly what we're seeing in the state of Minnesota. It's a complete Somali takeover, a Somalian invasion, and these folks are the ones responsible, solely responsible for getting Ilhan Omar into power. And I want to quickly flip over to a very interesting CNN clip that I stumbled across that caught my attention. This is a Somalian Minnesota official comparing President Donald Trump's deportation agenda to Nazi Germany. But then the funniest part about it is his own wife, the Somalian councilman, his own wife's nonprofit was involved in the Feeding Our Future scam. This was the largest COVID era scam taking place in the state of Minnesota. These folks are panicking. It's time to start packing it up.
Growth in this state, they have contributed a lot to the state of Minnesota and the city of Minneapolis. And yes, folks have done horrible things, and people have committed crimes, but we should not be pointing the entire community in one brush and being singled out as fellow Americans. There's a justice, there's a process of due process, and I believe those folks have been dealt with by the state leaders. And but now President Donald Trump singling out and attacking one group of people, and ICE being on our streets and asking people documentation. It feels like we are in 1930s, 1940s in Germany.
And one thing that I took away from that clip right there is that panic is setting in for these Somalians across Minnesota. They know exactly what's to come next. They know they're guilty as could be, and they've been caught red-handed. I'm all for usually saying don't paint one demographic with the same brush, but you see here that the data, the analytics, it speaks for itself. This was Somalian fraud being committed all across the state of Minnesota. I mean, take a look at it. Almost 80% of crime in the state of Minnesota was being committed by nothing but Somalians. It's right there.
I'm just grateful that you're reporting it, and the reason that it's getting reported is because Donald Trump, President Trump, finally made this a national issue when he sent out a truth a couple weeks ago. We've been trying to sound the alarm in Minnesota for more than 3 years. Everybody's focused right now on $1 billion plus in fraud that has been stolen from Minnesota taxpayers, and a lot of it allegedly has been sent to Al-Shabaab back in Somalia, a terrorist group. But you know what we're not talking about today? do you realize that, it's not that all Somalis are committing crimes, but 80% of the crimes being committed in the Twin Cities in Minnesota are being committed by Somalis. And by the way, the FBI has been investigating Somali gangs in the Twin Cities now for months. I am grateful that President Trump has raised this to a national issue. This is it's kind of like a small version of what Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were doing at our southern border for the last 4 years. Tim Walz is as corrupt as and incompetent as the day is long. You got $1 billion of fraud. You got the largest fraud case pandemic fraud case in the country.
Come on, you guys. All the data shows exactly what's going on. You can't say that this is Islamophobia or folks are being prejudiced towards Somalis. No, this right here is the data showing exactly who's committing the crimes. We could clearly see who's the culprit, who's to blame. And again, instead of bringing these Somalian fraudsters to face justice, we've got the police chief instructing illegals to call 911 if they get stopped by ICE agents in the streets. You can't make this stuff up.
Folks that are masked, that they're not sure if they're law enforcement, that they may be kidnapping people. Like, we have had those reports. I want to be clear to the community. The community should know that if you see something like that is legitimate, that you don't know if someone is law enforcement, you should call 911. And you should provide as much information as possible, because let's not forget, we very recently had tragedy in this state by someone who was purporting to be law enforcement. So please, let's be clear. That's something everyone should report, and that we will immediately respond to, and we will document. Whether it's somebody's not sure if there's a kidnapping happening, somebody's not sure if there's law enforcement present or not. And that's something else that's additional policy requirements that we are implementing, that we will document and report these types of things anytime that we hear it, and reminding our officers of their duty to intervene. So if there is anything that is, a violation of someone's human rights or civil rights, excessive force or anything like that, they absolutely have a duty to intervene as police officers.
I'm so sick and tired of this same old narrative coming from these folks, these Democratic officials. Even the police chief of Minnesota is saying, hey, these folks are being kidnapped off the streets, but we're seeing that's not the case whatsoever. If you're here legally in this country, you don't have anything to worry about. I want you guys to check out this one that I ran past. This is a Somalian man that was stopped by ICE. But guess what was different about this run-in with ICE agents? This man complied. He showed his passport and then he was released. There was no kidnapping to be done because he was a legal citizen of the United States of America. If you're here legally, you've got nothing to worry about. There will be no kidnapping, quote-unquote kidnapping, because these folks are being detained and sent back to the country where they belong. They came here legally.
I'm a citizen of this country, and they take me off and they hold me, they detain me here. I don't know what they're doing. I have no idea. These guys are so stupid. I don't know what they're talking.
Check what they want to see.
My passport. I give my ID. I give my passport ID. Everything. They didn't want to listen to me. Just they want to talk to their supervisors.
They said they take an interview. I don't know why they take interview here.
They asking me, have you been interviewed or what? I said no, I haven't been interviewed. They said they're gonna take interview and soon as you come. They said it's going to be hot, so they just run off. They took it off. Because of you guys, they just they didn't want you to involve with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Can I get your name, or do you want to give that?
My name is Ali.
Can you spell it?
A-L-I, and last name D-A-H-I-R.
Can I just ask how long you've been in the country?
Excuse me?
How long have you been in the country? I'm just curious.
Telling me what? 25 years.
There it is, as simple and straightforward as it could be. This Somali man here was not illegal. He was here in this country with citizenship, the proper paperwork, and he was let go. It's not about ICE agents coming and just confronting folks in the streets and then ultimately picking them up just because of their skin color. No, they're confronting these folks and ask them, hey, show me some proper documentation that you belong in this country. Let me see a passport, something of the nature. Where's your citizenship papers? And you show the papers, you're going to be off the hook. You don't have to worry about being detained or anything like that. But for these folks that aren't in this country legally, of course, they're going to try to drive that narrative to say that folks are being picked up at random because it helps their cause. But we all see what's going on. The truth of the matter is the folks that are not supposed to be in this country are being sent back home. And before we get get out of here, guys, I want to leave you here with a message coming from our wonderful border czar, Tom Homan, as he speaks upon the ICE agent increase across the state of Minnesota and also investigation into Ilhan Omar and her alleged immigration fraud with her brother.
When do you expect ICE to make its presence really known in the Twin Cities, Tom? Approximately.
I can't forecast that. I don't want to, I don't want to give up operations, but I can tell you that, Secretary Noem's all over it. I know ICE and CBP and other federal agencies, the FBI, DEA, ATF. President Trump's been a genius on this. He brings the all of government to these operations. So if we arrest an alien with drugs, you got the DEA right there, can prosecute the case before we deport him. If you get him with a gun, you got ATF right there to prosecute the case before we deport him. But I can tell you, focus is there. It's coming. But I don't want to give a lot. I can't tell you how many people are on the ground now, how many people are going to be on the ground. I'll leave that to the Secretary of Homeland Security. But focus is on those Twin Cities more because of the criminal activities been uncovered by DOJ and DHS.
Now that Republicans are back in control, can we expect to see some type of immigration investigation into Congresswoman Ilhan Omar? There was a report, this was a story I broke, and it's since been confirmed that she married her brother and committed immigration fraud. Can you speak to whether or not there's any investigations into Congresswoman Omar's immigration fraud via the marriage to her brother? And whether or not her citizenship could potentially be revoked if you guys also find that she did in fact commit immigration fraud and student loan fraud?
I can't discuss any investigation.
Okay. All right. Well, I figured I would just ask because a lot of people always wonder why we have jihadists serving in Congress, why we have anti-American immigrants serving in Congress who are, perpetuating this open borders mentality.
We're aware of that situation, but I can't discuss it.
Oh, so you are aware of it. Okay, great. So you guys are aware.
Yo, there we have it, guys. Oh my goodness. Looks like not only is there a storm brewing in Minnesota for the Somalian fraudsters, but also a storm brewing for that Somalian representative Ilhan Omar. It's like the Trump administration is not going to let her off the hook. She's not getting off easy with this one. She constantly sends threats and challenges the Trump administration, specifically President Donald Trump, to do something. She wants to see him act upon the massive fraud that's been taking place in her state, and she wants him to act upon the massive fraud that she's committed herself of marrying her brother in order for him to get citizenship within the United States of America. It's about time for the Trump administration to step up and answer her calls. Call her bluff. I mean, she keeps continuously saying that she's not afraid to be deported. She doesn't care if she goes back to Somalia. She's a grown woman now with grown kids. It doesn't matter what country she's in. She's already made her bucks. Well, challenge her. It's time for the Trump administration to own up or step up and do something about this woman who thinks she's untouchable. She truly believes that she is above the law and no one's going to do anything to her in the country. And honestly, I believe it's time for her to finally face a little bit of justice. I know some of you out there feel the same exact way, guys, but definitely up in the comment section. Comments are open. My question for you today is, will Ilhan Omar finally be held accountable for her massive corruption in Congress by President Donald Trump or someone in his administration? Hop in the comment section. Let me know what you guys are thinking on this one. Also, make sure you guys please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd enjoy more content like this, catch you guys on the next one week.